For example, if it is a construction project, where will be the physical location of the project, and basically the drawings basically tells out the geometry of where which things are occupying which space. The project, and then there is a question of who will be doing. So this is a question of maybe determining the roles and responsibilities, RACI matrix, and things of those sorts. So it is useful for the project manager to be aware of all these key questions, as they provide key point of reflection, and there are different tools to help you respond to each of those questions. Then there is a quotation from I think an executive from HP, which is, you manage what you cannot measure, and what gets measured gets done. And this is particularly important when we talk about project monitoring and control, because if we cannot measure, we have not got a proper baseline, so we cannot introduce. So having a very good measurement is crucial for effective management. Right, so we will start by looking at this baseline and a tracking Gantt chart. And the question is how satisfied you are with the progress of activity A. So the top bit is indicating the baseline chart, and the bottom bit is indicating the tracking Gantt chart, and the project is being reported on period 6. So how would you be your report on activity A? So you can see the activity A on the top is the baseline, and the actual duration is indicated in a solid line underneath. So this is an activity which is of no concern. It is going on time. Activity B, you can see, is exactly the similar sort. So it is just following what was actually planned. How would you comment on activity C? So activity C is delayed. Do you think sorry, yes, activity C, Francis, you are right. It is ahead of schedule. It has been completed 1 week in ahead of schedule, so it's no concern. Moving on to activity D, how would you comment on its progress through period 6? So looking at activity D, we have made some progress, but the guys on the site are telling us that this activity is, yes, so Francis, you're right. It is started on time, but it will be delayed at completion. It may be because of a number of reasons. It could be a weather-related delay, or it could be a delayed procurement. As a result, even though start was on time, but the delay is has an impact. And how would you comment on activity E? So activity E started early, but it is finishing on time actually. But originally the plan was that we will be spending only 1 week on activity E, but the revised time is 2 weeks. So we have to be conscious that we are not overspending. So this activity was originally a 1 week activity with 1 week for Slack. We started it early. All right. Now, can you see here that the original project was planned for 12 weeks, but because of the delays, the project will now be completed in a 13 weeks period. And the key reason for that was that there was a finish to start relationship between activity D and F. So a delay in D, which was appears to be a critical activity, had a knock-on impact on the activity F. So activity F now could not be started on week 8. It will now be starting at week 9, and basically the project will be 1 week delayed. Right. So can you reflect on what do you see are the benefits of tracking Gantt charts in terms of communicating project progress? Almost all project management software tools provide this the tracking Gantt chart facility. And what do you see are the key advantages? So Francis wrote that it provides a visual aid to what is happening with the program. It shows you where the delays, and it's easy to understand, and you can always compare it with the baseline, and it could be used as an effective monitoring and control tool. Okay, so that's if we just continue looking at the previous case study and look at the same project, but reporting the progress at end of week 7. In the last example, we were looking at week 6. So we can see there's no concern with activity A, which is on track. Activity B, you can see it took 1 month over in the scheduled time, but still this activity has got some slack, which will cushion any time increase. So this is not a concern. Activity C, how would you comment on the health of activity C looking at this tracking Gantt chart? So Paul, you mentioned it's a 1 month over and overran expectations, which is correct. So it looks like activity C is about 90% complete, and we will still need one more month or week, whichever unit we are using, to see it finished. So this is a little bit of a concern. Activity D, you can see that this activity has taken 1 month more than what it was supposed to have taken. Now, would anyone comment on activity E? How do you see? So here you can see this arrow, which is linking activity E to basically activity C, basically activity B, C, and D. So it appears like there is a finish to start link between activity E. So activity E, even though it's taking the right time, but it has a knock-on impact because it was dependent on activity. So the delay in activity C has caused a delay in the start of activity E because there was a finish to start relationship. We have to wait for all the activity C, D, and B basically to finish. So as a result, we have a delay, and this has got a consequent impact on the last activity, and this delay will move on. So you can see the activity E have finished to start relationship with the previous preceding activity, and activity F has a finished to start relationship. So you can see the baseline duration of this project was 11 weeks, but by end of periods, looking like we are now moving to a 13 weeks project. Right. So this is an output from an actual construction project, and you can see that a typical project could have maybe up to 100 or even more than that activities, and it may require some magnifying glass to look through these activities. So the key principles basically is that at point of reporting, you look at the activities on the left of the line which you are reviewing, and you identify which activities uh, are having a delay, and also you will be looking at finish to start relationship, so which of the subsequent activities would suffer. So, and this is about the baseline and the tracking Gantt charts. And if you are using any software, maybe Primavera or Microsoft Project, you could explore how would you do baseline and tracking Gantt charts in the software that you are using. Right, so here you're being asked a question. Your line department has produced following report to the project progress, and what data sources are presented here. And so my question is, you are seeing here two lines. The so now there is a bit of an issue with uh, Google presentation, and that I couldn't figure out the way to remove this bar at the bottom. So we have to live with it for the time being. So basically, the red line is showing you the budgeted spend. So let's assume it's 1,000. So January we should have spent 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, and so on and so forth. And the blue line at the bottom, which is hidden behind this black bar, is indicating the actual spend, which is shown here. Right. So the question is, what data sources are presented? So what is the name of this line? We did cover it in our previous session. So what is the name of this red line? If we are using a software tool, there's a specific term which we learn, which basically tells us how much we should have spent. So my question is, yes, Francis, you are right. So we call it BCWS if we are using a software tool, which stands for budgeted cost of work scheduled, or sometime in British literature we call it a planned value as well. Basically, it serves as an anchor point, and basically it is telling us how much we should be spending. And what is the name of this blue line, which is telling us actually how much we are spending? So I'm asking for the technical term which is used, and you have to be familiar with these terms, as these are specific terms which are used in financial reporting. So no, it's not. So it will be called, yes, Apostles, you're right. That is called ECWP, which stands for actual cost of work performed. So by end of month June, you see that we should have spent 30 grand, and actually we have spent 60 grand on this project. So you're being asked a question: what is your assessment for mid-June? So what would be your report on this project? Okay, so yes, we have observed that the actual cost spent is double. And James, you said it's an overspending alert. Uh, can you draw a conclusion that this project is? Yes, Sarah. So you have. So can we make a conclusive conclusion that this project is over budget, under budget, or? Yes, so I think this is the point which we studied in the last class. We should not come to judgments very quickly. So just by looking at the cost which was allocated and the money spent, we should not draw our conclusions. We should also look into what is the actual progress which has been made by the guys on the site. It's possible that they have spent double, but possibly they have completed the project ahead of schedule. So they have crashed all the activities and they are done and dusted. At this moment, just by looking at these two lines, which is what is budgeted and what is actually spent, we cannot make conclusive conclusions. So we use three data sources. So this problem is addressed in earned value management systems, which look at not only the red line, which is budgeted cost of work schedule, and the blue line, which is actual cost of work performed, but also the third line, which is the black one. And what is the technical name of this line? The black one? So Sarah, the red line is the planned value. So yes, this you can call it. It is telling you earn value, but if you are using software, software use a term which is called BCWP, which stands for budgeted cost of the work performed. Essentially, what this graph is telling us that even though we have spent almost double to what we were expected, also we have performed much more than what we were expected. The guys on the site have so far performed a work which is equivalent to 45,000 pounds of work. So their earned value at this point is 45,000. Again, they have spent a little bit too much. They have, and also they have achieved more than what they should have achieved at that point. So in the example below, the budget line, which is plan value or budgeted cost of work schedule, which is indicated in red line, is below actual expenditure line, which is blue, and the earned value line. So what is this indicating to us? Okay, so firstly, yeah, so we can conclude that the project is expanding more than what it was budgeted. So to date, so which is red line. So the blue line is on top of the red line, which is basically we are spending much more than what we should have spent. And we can also observe another thing, that this trend is continuing right from the beginning of the project. And also we can also see that we are actually achieving and performing a bit more. How would you analyze how would you analyze variation between budgeted cost of work performed and budgeted cost work schedule? So the black and the red lines. So here you can see basically we are performing slightly more than what we were supposed to perform according to the schedule. So this will be interpreted as that we are achieving more work on site and we are ahead of schedule. And what are your final conclusions about the schedule variance and the cost variance? And so how would you think we are performing in terms of a schedule? So just by having a quick look, you can conclude that we are performing better than what we should have been. So in terms of a schedule, we are doing a positive thing, but in terms of a cost, it will probably be a negative figure. So you can always go to the formulas for the different variances which we studied, and we will be coming to those formulas in a second. And also you can see that we can forecast the completion cost. So if the similar trends continue, we can extrapolate that this blue line is going to end up very close to 120, 125. So possibly this project is going to be double the cost. So here you can see the earned value, and at the bottom line here you can see the forecasted value. So possibly we are heading for a 2 times more cost than what was originally planned. Right. Now I would like to here ask you a question. We have been in the early sessions in our class. We learned about scheduling, how to schedule a project, and now we are learning a little bit about earned value management. And where do you see a link between the two? Is there a link? And so why do you think there is a link between earned value management and scheduling? Why both are important? Or right, so Paul, you wrote it helps identify different plant work and the actual. Aaron said it gives a more accurate position of a project position. Francis said it gives you a full overview of the development of cost and time. So basically, scheduling will help you determine the timing of operations in a project. So it will help you determine the specific start time and the completion dates for the different activities within your project. So another way of looking at scheduling is to consider it the action plan or the doing part of the project. And scheduling helps you answer certain questions. It helps you answer a question like when the work will be performed, and it includes project start date, completion date, early start, early finish, slacks. You can identify using scheduling knowledge. It helps you develop your milestone dates and start and completion dates for all the activities which are important. And also another benefit of scheduling is it helps logically tie all the activities, and then it helps you plan for your milestones and deliverables, and then the earned value management helps you to use the baseline which is provided to you by scheduling and ensuring that you are sticking close to this baseline, uh, helping it achieve it. Now, the next question which we want to reflect on is how earned value management system support the program management and the project management. Now, so first of all, just to be clear, what is the difference between a project management and program management? Yes, so I think you guys are clear. So the program is basically a bundle of projects. So it's a group of projects where the one project is very specific in terms of time and frame. So, where does earned value management fit into the big picture? Usually, within a big program, we could have number of different projects. Different organizations have their own reporting practices. You could have budgeting. You can have cost proposals, negotiations, cost collection databases, change controls. Perhaps some of this information could be tied into an earned value management. So we are seeing use of integrated corporate dashboards, which integrate a lot of this information. there are yeah. So David, when we refer to project management, usually it is a very specific project with a very clearly defined start and end date, whereas the program management would involve managing a portfolio of projects. So we can see the big picture where earned value management fits in and how it could possibly draw data from a number of different data sources and help us have a clear picture about how our projects are progressing. So in the previous class, we saw and went through the case study of Bill Gates, who would be looking at the overall figures about schedule performance index and the cost performance of a number of different projects to ensure that these projects are on track, and if they are deviating quite a lot from schedule, then corrective measures are introduced. Right. So when we talk about monitoring, another term which goes hand in hand is control. Monitoring helps you identify you are ahead of schedule, you are behind schedule, or you are under budget or over budget. And once you have identified the problem, then you have to introduce certain control measures. So Kirsner defined cost control, which is one type of control, is not only monitoring of costs and recording perhaps massive quantities of data, but also analyzing data in order to take corrective actions before it is too late. So the control is all about interventions and corrective actions to put the project back on track. So there may be some weather-related issues or procurement problems which has derailed your project, but you try to introduce certain control measures to put your project back on track. Okay, now can you reflect on various control measures which can help program back on track? So if you can think of different types of control measures which could be introduced. So Paul, you suggested draw down on risk, possibly. So we did study about maybe crashing, which could be one strategy that could be used. So Kevin mentioned reallocation of resources from other projects in program to bring the project back. So that could be one. Reduce the scope of the program. That could be possible. Possibly you could use faster delivery methods if you're falling behind schedule. So for instance, maybe for reinforcing the steel, you could explore maybe what are the faster methods which will help you put back on track. Sometimes project managers also look into the so David mentioned more resources, longer working times, changing the task importance. Another strategy which is often used is look at the network diagram and look at the relationship between different tasks and changing the finish to start relationships to maybe start to start relationships, so concurrent rather than sequential work on various activities. Sometimes we can consider redesigning to ensure we could achieve the thing in shorter time. We could make use of a precast material, off-site construction strategies, right? So there could be various control measures which could be introduced to bring the project back on track. Right, so we will now go through another case study of a small-scale house construction and look at the reporting of this project. So in this project, we are reporting progress of the project on 31st January. So which activities need to be reviewed for status reporting? So which activities you reckon shall we be concerned with? So usually we report the activities which are on left of the line. So the activities on the right of the line have yet not started. So that's basically beyond the scope of this review. So, so you said activity 4, 5, 9, and possibly the activity 6, which is pouring the stair, which has also started. So these 4 activities will be part of this review. So let's go through review, which is taking place on 31st of January. Now, certain assumptions before we go to this review. Firstly, the activities will be done as sequence. Thus, no other activities besides the 4 mentioned will be affected by 31st of January status effort. And activity cost is spent uniformly across each activity. So, for instance, just for the sake of simplicity, this activity number 9, let's assume the budget was 20 grand and we are just halfway through. So we will be assuming that the money is spent. So that is 10,000 should be spent in the first 2 in this part and 10,000. So the money allocation is on a uniform basis. Now, in terms of reporting methods, different contractors, different contracts have got different methods of reporting. There are few will report the progress of a project on a fixed formula, which is 0-100. So usually the contractors get their payment released only on 100% completion. So we do not report completion of a project, maybe 10% or 20% complete or so. All that we are interested in is when is that milestone accomplished. So we are reporting pouring of foundation using this fixed formula just as for illustration. So we will be reporting it complete, either 0 or 100. So that is what we are interested. We are not interested whether this activity is 20% complete or 40%, because that means milestone is still not complete. Whereas the other activities we will explore with the subjective percentage completion. So here we will be reporting the actual percentage which is complete. So for this 2 activity, and the last activity, pouring of stairway, we will be using a fixed formula which is 25% complete, 75%, and then 100% complete. So here you can see there are numerous earned value methods used for measuring progress, each method more applicable to certain types of activities than other methods. So there are certain activities which you can easily quantify. For instance, maybe it's a simple brickwork or framing of exterior walls. It may be the subjective assessment may be possible. But for certain activities, it may not be most appropriate. So we agree on the reporting mechanism. So here, in this example, we will be using 3 different reporting methods. For the first activity is a fixed formula, which is 0 and 100. So as we said, we are reporting the progress of this project on 31st of January. To obtain our project activity status, we meet with the construction manager or those responsible for the work, and they are providing us with the results below. So this is mind you, American system, so it should be read as 15th of January, the actual start date of pouring of foundation. It was completed on 21st of January, and we are 100% complete. The installation of patio, it started on 23rd of January, it finished on 30th of January, and again, this is 100% complete. And pouring of stairways, it started today, basically 30th of January, and it is 25% complete, and it is estimated that it will be done by 1st of February. And the framing of exterior walls, it started on 23rd of January, and by 31st of January, it is being reported that it is 40% complete. And so we will start by looking at each of those activities and we'll report. So just a reminder, the pouring of foundation was, we are using a formula which is 0 and 100. Okay, so the first activity is pour foundation. The activity was scheduled to start on 15th of January, as you can see in this bar chart here, and it was supposed to finish on 22nd of January. It's actually started on 15th of January and actually finished on 22nd of January. So again, it's an example of an activity which is on track. Thus, this activity was on schedule and is 100% complete. So what is the planned value, what is earned value, and the actual cost? So what do you reckon was the planned value for pouring the foundation? Okay, so that's good. The next thing is, what is the earned value? Travis, your answer was correct. The planned value was 15,394, and it is shown on the bar chart. Yeah, so it is basically the same because you have delivered the work, you have accomplished it 100%. So this is you have earned this value. So by this reporting period, this planned value is the same, and the actual cost has to be given to you by the site office. Right, so planned value is determined by what was planned or scheduled to be complete using the schedule below. The activity was planned to start on 15th of January, finish on 22nd January, and thus as of 31st January, the planned value for pouring of foundation was 15,394, the entire value of the activity. So you right. The earned value is what was actually done as of 31st of January. The activity is 100% complete, and its earned value is 15,300, which is 100% of the planned value. So you cannot earn more than what was planned. So this is your planned value. So the actual cost is what was actually spent and can be from the accounting system. In this case, the actual cost was reported as 15,850, which you can see is slightly over budget. Now we move to the second activity. What is the planned value and earned value of patio installation on 31st of January? So again, you can see the planned value from the bar chart here. Now it was completed on schedule and is 100% complete as of 31st January. You can see this blue bar. It has finished before this reporting deadline. So the planned value is 8166. The earned value is 8166 as well, because you have earned this value, you have delivered the whole job, and the actual cost is 1,200, which is basically telling us that the cost variance in this case will be positive because it's an activity which was under budget. Now we look at the third activity, which is a framing of exterior walls, and the planned value and earned value as of 31st of January. Right. So here, what would you reckon would be the planned value? So the total budget of this cost job was around 16,521. So Paul, that is the total budget. So Kevin, half it, yes. So approximately, we basically break this bar and we just look at how much we should have spent of this portion of the bar, which is on the left of this reporting line. So we should not be looking at the entire. So the planned value for the entire activity was 16,521, but we should only be looking at the portion of the bar which was on the left. So the next two activities which we will be reviewing in this reporting are slightly different because these are the activities in progress and they use different method determining earned value. So first of all, we look at framing of exterior walls. The activity framing of exterior wall was scheduled to start on 23rd of January and finish on 8th of February. It started on 23rd of January and is forecasted to complete. So it is, you can see the actual finish date. So this is an activity which appears to be on track, but as of 31st January, the site supervisor said the activity was 40% complete. And remember, the earned value method used for this activity is subjective percentage assessment. So we see, yes, so the planned value is 8,748, and we will see, just I think, Travis, slightly more than what you have suggested, but we are just looking at the planned value. So we will not be looking at the earned value at this stage. So in terms of the planned value, the activity is scheduled from 23rd of January to 8th of February, which indicates it's a 17 calendar days or 13 working days. And if we take calendar days for our calculations, we will use calendar days in our example calculations, remembering the assumption that all costs are spent uniformly across each activity. We need to determine what is the planned value as of 31st of January. So we will count how many calendar days have elapsed from the time when this activity started, which was basically 20th of January. So the cost of the activity is 16,521, which will be divided by the total duration for the activity, which is 17 days, to give us a value of 972 per day. So that's the planned value per day of this activity. Next, we take the planned value start date and the status days to determine the amount of days which have um, which have elapsed so far. So it's a 9. Now let's determine the planned value is determined by taking the amount of days, 9 times the value per day, 972. So we should have spent 8,748 pounds by the time. The earned value for this activity is determined by taking the activity's total value and multiplying it by the percentage complete. So our friend Travis has given us the answer, which is basically that is the earned value. So we have earned this much value, and the actual cost, which is derived from the reporting system, is 6,250. So in summary, the planned value was 8,748. The earned value is 6,608, and the actual cost is 6,250. So by the look of it, it looks like we have achieved lesser than what we should have achieved at this point of time. But also we have spent much lesser. The activity in this example is a pouring of stairways. It's just a 2 days activity. The activity was scheduled to start on 31st of January and finish on 1st of February. It started on schedule and is forecast to be completed on 1st of February. Thus, this activity is on schedule. Now, the formula for reporting which we are using is 2575. So we will not be doing a subjective assessment. So it's 25. So site office has reported that that this activity has been 25% complete as of the status reporting date. So using the process, what would be the planned value, earned value, and the actual cost? So the planned value, what do you reckon would be the planned value for pouring of stairways? So basically, this is the earned value, how much we should have spent. So we can see that the total budget for this job was around 11,000. Maybe if I'm reading it right, 11,122 or so. So we should have spent half of that because we are just reporting it halfway through. So actual cost is 3,100. So the planned value is basically 11,922 divided by 2. So this is how much we should have spent by this date. The earned value is 0.25. So we have earned 25% of the total amount, which is this. And the actual cost which was spent on this was 3,100. Right, so this is an example where we saw some illustration. Now, cost variance, basically what is the cost variance and what does it tells you? So here we have computed the total planned value, the total earned value, and the total actual cost, and the software has given us this very nice looking graph. And now we are looking at the cost variance, which is the difference between the earned value and the actual cost. And so, any suggestion? What is cost variance telling us? Right, just in case if any one of you missed the last session, I will just remind you that you can access the problem sets by clicking on that tinyurl.com ppmbe 2019. And right at the bottom of this document, you will see um, some terms which we use in these calculations. So the formula for cost variance is adjusted budget cost to the actual spend cost, and the formula is earned value minus actual cost. And if it's a negative number, it indicates um, over budget. So if we go back to this, the formula will be 33,149 minus 32,400. So it's a positive, so it is basically telling you we are achieving more than in terms of a cost, it's a positive answer, which is indicating that we are over budget. So this is the formula which we use, which is earned value minus actual cost. And right, so so this is the final calculation in this case study. So the actual cost table is here. Then we have calculated the schedule variance. Now again, going back to our problem sets, the formula for schedule variance is earned value minus planned value. So if we take one of the examples of for instance, so here earned value was this and planned value was this. So schedule variance is basically telling us we are on schedule on this, whereas we are slightly falling behind schedule. And very often we plot this as a graph, performance index and CPI. Again, you will see the formulas at the bottom of your problem set. And then once you have had, you can reflect on these sort of questions and write a report whether you think this project is on schedule, if not, which activities are falling behind. So you can see immediately as a glance, your overall schedule variance is a negative answer. So your project is behind schedule, and the activities which are of concerns are those which are having a negative answer. Also, another method which executives use to look at the program reports is that they look at SPIs and CPIs. And any SPI which is 1 or greater than 1 means a good news for your project. And if it is lesser, so for instance, a 0.76 indicates that this activity is almost 76% behind schedule, and this activity is falling, so point is much lesser than 1. So so you're reporting, the project managers try to make sure that their SPI and CPI are greater than 1 or closer to 1. And also, we use these sort of a forecast to have an estimated cost at completion, so that we could forecast that how this project will uh, uh, take to complete. So in this session, we learned we reviewed few basic concepts. We learned about planned value, which is also called budgeted cost of the work schedule, which is a physical work schedule or what you plan to do. In the quantification of the work done to date or what you have physically accomplished on construction site. And AC, or actual work cost of work performed, is the cost incurred for executing the work on a project or what you have actually spent. And then we have different corporate practices of reporting earned value, which include things like fixed formula, milestone weightages with percentage completions, unit completion, percentage complete, level of effort. Right. Now, Before we jump to the problem set, maybe we will quickly go through, even though we have touched upon it, but we will quickly review what are different methods of reporting construction progress. Before that, there is a bit of a link to this case study, so you can link up this and have this overview of why earned value contributes to success of construction firms. For the full-timers, we had an interesting session arranged by Highways England, which is a major client organization. They talk about their project control framework and its different stages within the presentation file. You have got a link to it, which you could explore. Also, they shared one of their technical reporting where they have given example of how CPI and SPI need to be reported, and the rationale of it, were the earned value management system. So it is in the public sector projects, it is a widely used system, and that is the reason why there is some inbuilt complexity in terms of the usage of terms and things of that sort. So you could just go through some of this background information on earned value management to have a little bit understanding of the different applications where it is being used. I will quickly like to take you through different methods which are being used for reporting construction progress. So the first one is calculating earned value using milestone weightage. So here we give credit to contractors when they complete different milestones. So this milestone weighting method assigns budget value to each milestone, and you need to wait until activity completion prior to earning budget for that activity. So for instance, if any contractor is working on foundations and they have done 50% of the job, but they will not be paid unless that entire milestone has been achieved, so unless the entire foundation work has been completed. So have to wait for the entire completion. Careful consideration should be given in planning for milestones, because otherwise people would be left out of pocket, and milestones corresponding to the key accounting periods. So if we take this example here, and we are reporting progress of a project based on the milestone, so dates of the key milestones are specified here. So the first one, so this is the first activity is start. This is this milestone activity with a 0 milestone value. The second activity is site inspection, completion of site inspection. So this is an activity which has a milestone value of £100,000. The third activity is phase 1 completion, which is as a milestone value of 150,000, and the eighth activity phase 2 completion has a milestone value of 200,000, and the number ID activity 10 has a milestone value of 120. So you earn value at completion of each milestone. So assuming all the activities begin and complete as scheduled, can you determine the earned value as of 31st of January? So what is the earned value using milestone reporting by 30th of January? So Francis think it's a 0. Any other thoughts on this? Right, so you can see by 31st of January, basically we have 30th of January, we have completed 2 milestones. So this one was completed on 30th of January, which has a value of 100,000, and this was basically start, so it has got no monetary value attached to it. So the milestone, so the earned value will be reported as 100,000 or 100 at on 31st of January. So we have got two diamonds here, and so we have picked these two milestones. Now, what do you reckon would be the milestone or earned value using milestone reporting on 28th of February? Okay, Bilal, you think it's 225? So Aaron, I think, has the right answer. We have yet not achieved this milestone. We would not be taking into account the percentage completion here, because all we are concerned about is whether the milestone has been accomplished or not. And so we can see we have got two diamonds which we have earned. One was activity ID 2, which has got 0 monetary value, and ID 4, which has got a 100. So by 28th of February, that is the only value. So answer should be 100,000. Okay. Now, if we look at 31st of March, what is the earned value by 31st of March using milestone reporting? So we are talking about a cumulative value. So Aaron, you said 450. Yes. So we can, you can see there are 4 diamonds on the left, and if we look at the monetary value of all of those, basically the answer should be 450,000 pounds earned. Right, so we just saw this example of milestone weightage. The advantage is it requires objective measurable milestones, which most customers or project managers prefer. However, it does not allow for partial credit for in-process work. So it may be a case that you have accomplished almost 95% of the work, but still you will not get paid for it. And it does require detailed milestone planning. Otherwise, contractors could possibly go out of business if they do not get paid on time. Now, another reporting method which we will use in this use case is milestone weightage with percentage completion. So here we will take into account the percentage completion as well. So if you look at, and not only the milestone weightage. So here, if you look at 31st of January, the only activity which has been completed is the site inspection, which has got a monetary value of 100. So we can see here that the current earned value is 100,000, milestone weighting with percentage complete 100, and the cumulative. Okay, so this is basically a comparison between the two. If it was a milestone weightage or milestone weightage with percentage complete, in both cases the answer is the same here in this example. Okay, so in this we are reporting a progress of a project on 28th of February, and we are using milestone weightage with percentage complete. So we are assuming that the phase 1 design is 70% complete. So we know that we have earned the value for this activity. So we have earned this milestone, which means we have already earned 100,000. And for the phase 1 design, we have accomplished 70% of 150. So we will be giving credit to the contractors for completion of this work. So according to the milestone weighting, in this current period, current earned value will be 0, because this previous 100 was earned in the previous reporting period. So in the February reporting period, using a milestone method, if current earned value is 0, and the cumulative one will be 100, which is basically coming from the 31st of January reporting period. However, if we decide to use the percentage completion methods, phase 1 design is 70% complete, so you can take credit for earning 105 of the 150. So the total budget for this activity was 150. You are being credited for 70% of the work, which means 105, and there's a 100 historical. So using milestone weighting with percentage complete, your credits or you will be paid for 205,000 pound of work. Right. So again, I think the benefits we have discussed, but it does allows for partial credits against milestone, but it requires a lot of work. Control account managers need percentage complete for each milestone, and sometimes what does 70% completion looks like? Because we can always, it's easy to say it's 100% complete, but that could involve some subjective assessment. So there's a need for a robust assessment methodology. Okay, so I think in this we did review different reporting methods. In practice, we may usually come across 0-100 reporting, where nothing is earned when an activity starts, but 100% budget is earned when completed. 50-50, where 50% is earned when an activity starts and is earned on completion, or 25-75. So there are different reporting practices in place. Right. So I think this is a time for us to put some of the ideas which we have covered into practice. So now I understand some of the students have recently joined. So you are expected to complete 4 problem sets, and each problem set carries a mark of 4. So I've been telling students that's an easy way to boost your numbers, because this way if you just demonstrate the evidence that you have done, you can be sure that you get at least 20% mark, and the remaining you could get through your group work. So here the question 5 in the problem set 3, the question posed was that given the project network, and by the way, there are certain questions which are compulsory, marked with C, and the others are optional. So it is expected that students will do compulsory ones, and there is no need to spend loads and loads of time to create a neat version of this document. As far as you provide an evidence that you have done it, that is perfectly acceptable. So given the project network and baseline information below, complete the form to develop a status report for the project at end of period 4 and period 8. From the data you have collected and computed for periods 4 and 8, information are you prepared to tell to the customer about the status of the project? Okay, so here you can see the forward pass, backward pass calculations have been done well, and you can see, for instance, the duration for each activity. So activity A has a duration of 2, because this middle box basically indicates the duration. So activity A has a duration of 2, activity B has a duration of 6, activity C has a duration of 5, activity D you could see has a duration of 4, activity E has a duration of 3, and activity F has a duration of 3 as well. Now we can also see the early start and late finish time again from our network calculations. So for instance, for activity A, the top top left box tells us the early start time, which is 0, and the bottom right box tells us the late finish time, which is 2. Okay, and the slack for the activity is shown in the box at the middle. which is 0. So we know that this is a critical activity. And activity B has an early start of 2, the late finish of 8, and the slack of 0. And so you can complete this table using this information. Now here you can see the bar chart. The only difference in this bar chart is that it is not telling, it's not loaded with time, it's loaded with the cost. So for instance, the work on activity A is undertaken in the first 2 months of this project, and you're spending 200,000 each month. The work on activity B is undertaken from week uh, from week 3 to week 8, and you're spending so, and the budgetary allocation is 200, 600, 200, 600, 200 this. So you will be following the logic diagram. So once activity A has started, finished, you can begin work on activity B, and activity uh, C, and the budgetary allocation or the planned value is 200, 400, 500, 100, 300. And once work on activity B has finished, you can begin work on activity D, which you will be doing here. Let's make it a slightly different color to show this preceding. So after activity C, you will be working on activity E, and once all these activities have finished, you will be able to work on your last activity. Right, so this is your planned value spent. So through the life of your project, this is how the money will be spent. Now we look at the total planned total value. So here, for instance, we can see that okay, so I think you guys have got access to this, and maybe a suggestion that you could start filling the planned value. Maybe one of you could do here. So we can see the planned value. So by end of month 1, we should have spent 200. We should have spent 200 here again. At end of within month 3, we should have spent 400 in week 4. So you can jot down the value. So we should have spent 1,000, right? So free to complete it. Yes. So anonymous anteater, you are doing it right. Yes, so this is, I think, looking correct. So the next thing is for us to do a cumulative planned value. So the cumulative one by end of month 1 is 200. By end of month 1, 200, add 200 from month 1. So it will be 400. Then 400 add this 100, it will be 800. Right, so anonymous anteater did the top row. If you could possibly complete the cumulative planned value for this project again, or someone else. Travis was active as well, so we could do the cumulative plan value now, and I will have a double look at. So are you clear about the cumulative spending? Yes, so Sarah, that's correct. So it will be 1800 by end of month 5, 2500 by end of month 4, 3200 by end of month 6, 3700 end of month 7, our cumulative plan value end of. So this is very important data because this is we are establishing the baseline. Right, so while Travis is an anonymous kangaroo is doing this thing, one thing which we need to touch upon is that very often when projects are not going very well, the project managers are under political pressure to go about changing the baseline, which basically is so. So if you could reflect on this, because once projects falls behind schedule, there could be enormous pressure. So as a good project manager, we need to be aware that the good practice is that we do not change our plan value line or anchor point just for reasons, just for maybe weather related delays or for some small scope changes or so. Okay, if there is a very major change introduced, maybe the client has come to you and they have radically changed the scope work, that may be a ground for introducing changes in the baseline, but baseline is a key project document, so the PV line or baseline should be taken seriously. So I think this, I'm just checking for. So that's very good. So we have got this completed, and we have got the basically the plan value line. Now we will be reporting the project progress at the end of period 4. So we have been provided certain data. So we have been told. So mind you, by end of period 4, basically the end of month 4 is our reporting line, and we have copied certain things like a 400 here. Uh, the reason is because by end of month 4 we have the plan value was 400, and plan value for task B was 800. So if I could just use a highlighter to highlight that where is this 800 coming from, so that you're clear. So this 800 is basically this, because by end of month 4 we should have spent this much. So can I ask what should be the plan value for activity C? And it's already written, so there's no point of me asking, but plan value for activity C is that is on the left. So so that is the reason why we have put 400, 800, and 600, because according to the budget, that's the amount of money we should have spent on each of those activities. Right. So the other question is, what is the earned value? So if we can have any input, what is the earned value for activity A by end of period 4? So For instance, you said 400, which is correct. And likewise, the next question is, what is the earned value? So if one of you could just start populating the table with the earned value for activity A, which is 400, and we move to the earned value for activity B. So any thoughts on? So we have got 400 as the earned value for activity A. What is the earned value for activity B? Uh, Anonymous Kangaroo think it's 800, which I think is not correct. Travis think it's a 400. So it's basically 50%. You see, this is the budget line. So here, this is the anchor point which you should be using. So you have accomplished 50% of 2400. So Travis, you're right. It should be 1200 earned value. The other is activity, which is 33%. Now, 33% usually means 1/3, right? So let's take it 33.33%. So 33 of a 1500 would be 500, which is correct. And what do you reckon would be the earned value for activity D and E? So Linus, you said 495, which is close. So yes, so it should be 0 because these activities have yet not started. So the earned value for D and E will be reported as 0. We have earned 0% of anything is right. So next, look at the planned value column. We already have got the planned value for 400, 800, 600. We can see that by the reporting period, activity D and E should not have started. We should not have spent any money on that. So that is the reason why we will put the planned value for activity D and E as 0 because we should not have spent anything on that. Right. The next thing is for us to calculate the cost variance. Right. So if you want to check the formula once again for cost variance, you could go at the bottom of this document and pull out the formula for cost variance. Right, so just a reminder that cost variance, this is the formula, EV minus AC, and the other thing which we have to calculate is the schedule variance, which is a formula EV minus PV. So let's go back to the problem which we were doing. The cost variance will be calculated using EV minus PV, and schedule variance will be calculated by using earned value minus planned value. Right. So the first thing is the cost variance. Right. So if you could so yes, so it is EV minus AC. Sorry, thanks for correcting. So So can anyone jot down the cost variance for activity 1? Okay, so as we write, it is very important for us to, so 100 is the right answer, but the plus and minus have got an added value. We just want to make sure we understand. So it's a positive cost variance, which tells us this is under budget. So 100 plus 100 is the right answer. And for Aaron has written for activity B, it is plus 200, which is correct. And for the activity C, it is 0, which is correct, and activity D and E, because they are activities which have yet not started. Now we look at the schedule variance, which will be calculated using formula. So basically, it's telling us overall a good picture, and we can also have a cumulative cost variance. So the cumulative cost variance is plus 300. So on balance, our project is 300 under budget. We could have a cumulative value for our planned value as well. So it is telling us it is we should have spent 1800,000 by this stage. The actual cost is also, so the row at the bottom is the cumulative values. Okay, now let's discuss the schedule variance. So the schedule variance for task A, so EV minus PV, so it is 0. Earned value schedule variance for task B is plus 400. And then we move further down. What you reckon is this variance for C is minus 100. And for activity and D and E, it is reported as 0. Right. So this way we can see and we can calculate the overall schedule variance. So this gives an overall picture that in terms of cost, we are under budget, and in terms of a schedule, we are ahead of schedule by 300,000. So this is all looking very good. Then likewise, I think some of you have populated the period 8. If if you could do it using the same method, and I will just be checking that you are doing it in the right manner. So first of all, let's review the earned value by end of period 8. So basically, task A has been completed 100%, task B has been completed 100%, task C has been completed 100%, right? So all that is required is you go back to your sheet, see this was the planned value, 400, 2400, and 1500. And as you have accomplished 100% of all of these, that means this is your 400, 2400, 1500, right? And so what would be the earned value for activity D, which has been accomplished 25%? So it's a 400, and moving down to activity E. So if you see, activity E is 30% of the total 900. So 1/3 of 900 is 300. Okay, and we can see based on this that the total earned value and activity F have yet not started. Zero earned value. So the total earned value at this stage of time is close to 5,000. Um, then the actual cost has been given to you by your site office. The planned value here again, it has been done, and you can see the reason why it is done is we have looked at by end of period 8 how much money we should have spent. So let's take one example of activity C, which is written here 1500. Let's see why we have put 1500 here. So basically by end of week 8 we should have spent the whole budget for this activity, so that's why we have written 1500. And for the following activity, which is activity E, we should have just spent 300. So that's why this has been calculated for you. Now cost variance has to be calculated. So if one of you could take an initiative and could populate the cost variance. So Sarah is asking, why is D 0? So if we go to activity D, D was supposed to start in month 9, so by end of month 8. So it looks like the guys on site have started work on this activity early on. The plan of this activity, you can see in orange color here, would be starting a bit later, so that's why we have put it here. So they have started work on this activity slightly ahead of schedule. Right, so this way we would do using the same formulas. We would so Paul is giving it a go. Plus 200 is the right answer. The third cost variance is 0, which is correct. And then plus 100 for activity D, which is correct. And then 0 and 0 for activity F. And this gives us an overall cost variance of 400. Right. So now, as maybe Paul, if you continue doing the schedule variance, and if rest of you, if you could give us some thoughts. So you have to report the progress of this project to your boss by end of month 8. So how would your report look like? So can you write a paragraph, few sentences, just to report the project by end of period 8 as Paul completes the schedule variance for us, right? So how would your report look like? So if your boss is telling you, send me a note on how this project is progressing by end of period 8, how? Thank you, Paul. So if we could just think about the report. So we can see that report. So Sarah said that So your report would read something like the project is going smoothly, both by end of period 8, the cost variance is positive 400, which is just a good pattern in terms of cost, suggesting that the project is under budget by 400,000 in terms of a schedule variance. By end of period 8, it is plus 400 for it. Again, suggesting that you are making some good progress on this. So you could have a little bit of a suggestion here. Right. So now we are approaching towards end of this session. As the last thing, I did wanted to touch upon question 5 as well. In the question 5, we are reporting a user systems. A lot of construction companies, they do not report the cost data. Rather than reporting cost, they report labor hours data, which is obtained from the timesheets, and then the account department and their enterprise portals integrate the salary with the hourly sheet. But we report progress of a project not based on the cost data, but on the labor hours data. So here in this example, we were working with the labor hours and not cost. So this is the example. So some progress has been given to you from period 1 through 6, and you have to calculate the schedule variance, cost variance, SPI and CPI. Again, you will find the formula at the bottom of your problem set, and also then plot the earned value and actual cost on the summary graph provided, and plot SPI, CPI, or the index graphs. Right. So this is basically the sheet which is given. You could start by doing the forward pass and the backward pass calculations on your printed handouts, and then very similar to the problem which we were doing above, you will be doing reporting of this project, but here the only difference is we are not working with the costs, where we are actually working with labor hours. So here you can see the baseline budget needs labor hours in hundreds. So if we say in the month 1 we are spending 10, that actually should be read as 1,000. So for the activity 1, there is a total requirement of 2,000 labor hours, of which 1,000 will be spent in first month, and this is other in second month, right? So we will be doing the similar calculations. If we see, for instance, the first activity task 1, which is 50% complete. So we will be writing the earned value for activity 1 as it's a 50% of 2,000 basically. So we will be putting earned value as 1,000 hours because we have accomplished 50% of the 2,000 hours of work. So EV would be 1,000. The actual cost is 500. Time value is this. So we can calculate cost variance and the schedule variance. If we move further down to reporting period 2, the earned value is only the first task is completed. So we can see we have accomplished 100% of the task 1 by end of period month 2. So earned value here would be 2000. So nothing else has changed, and we have uh, done this. So in this, we are reporting progress of project through 6 different periods, and the actual cost data is provided, and then you calculate the SPI and CPI. So it builds on the same concept which we were discussing before, right? So I think and this could be taken as homework, and other problems are optional. The One of the problems was based on further. So you would recall we did a Microsoft project case study in one of the early weeks where we used this example to draw a network diagram. So here it's this problem is an optional one, so you're not supposed to be doing this if you are short of time, if you are full of energy, and you can feel free to do it. So here you could possibly use Microsoft project where and continue working on the same problem which we were doing before. Here, this is done. Now, one thing, as you are using earned value within a software environment, you do not have to calculate the things like earn different ratios or calculations the software do. All you are required to do is tell the software what percentage of the work has been completed, what is the actual cost, and all these calculations are done for you. But nevertheless, it's you got to do it manually, so it reinforces key concepts. But software makes it much easier for us to implement. So here, uh, there is a this task requires you to calculate the following, which is the cost variance and the uh, and different sort of ratios. And this is the software output, how it could look like. All right. So I think that is where I would like to draw a line.